Hey there, my name's Austin Hendler, and I am a solution engineer here at Notion. Today is a really exciting day as it marks the launch of Notion AI for Work. It's our biggest launch of the year so far. Lots of really cool new features and functionalities coming out today. Wanted to take some time in this video just to walk you through some of those new features, how they work, and give you some of those creative use cases that you can start applying within your own Notion environment as well. So we'll go ahead and hop into our Notion demo environment here. And you'll notice that the first big change with this launch is we do have this new homepage, right? There's always been a homepage in Notion, but really this new AI launch is providing you the ability to essentially use this as a launch pad for any sort of activity of search or building or research that you might want to do as you are going through the Notion product. So I'll walk through each one of these individual features and show you how they work here in a second. But we'll start with this first one, which is Ask, which is really something that's existed in Notion for a while, where you probably have used this search bar functionality before, or maybe this little guy who sits in your bottom right corner of your screen. Maybe you've gone to him and done some more plain text questions, like something like where's our company's most recent product launches. But now our search is really being built not only to look within Notion, but also across your entire enterprise tool stack. Many of you have probably used some of these connections we've built in the past, such as Slack or Google Drive. With this launch, we are also adding SharePoint, Microsoft Teams as well. So these are two forays into the Microsoft product suite. So, and many more to come in the near future as well. But essentially our search is now going to look across all of these different tools and not just look at Notion context. So if I were going to run that query, maybe in the past I would have to kind of go between these different applications. I would have to really think through like, hey, like I'm trying to build this PRD. I'm looking at this doc in Notion, this user research we did in Google Drive, this Slack thread we were talking about the results. But you'll notice when I asked this question about the most recent product launches, I got this full answer of, hey, here's a list of those product launches. And you'll notice that there's sources from all over the place, Slack, Notion, and I could go in even deeper here as well, right? Any source that it's finding from across, Jira, Google Drive, Microsoft product suite are all going to show up here as well. And I get even more granular, start specifying the team space, the authors, when this content might have existed between a date range as well. So really exciting expansion of that search functionality that we've had for a while, just really continuing to double down on that enterprise search. The next layer is around this deeper research mode. This is brand new. Maybe you've used this in ChatGPT where it helps you do web searches. Maybe you've used like Perplexity before. But we are now introducing this ability to do that deeper research within Notion and across your tool stack as well. So the way I think of the difference between this Ask functionality and this research functionality is, if I were to ask, what was the best meal you've had recently? You probably think back like, oh, like I had these really good tacos the other day, or I went to this really good Italian restaurant, and that would kind of pop up in your most recent memory. The research mode, if I were to ask you something like, what is the best meal you've had in the past year? You'd probably pause for a second and be like, well, I got to really think about like, where did I go? Was I on vacation somewhere? What were the dishes I had at those restaurants? You would really look at a much wider range of data more deeply. So that's pretty much the difference between these Ask and research functionalities, right? So in this case, if I'm going to be in an enterprise setting asking, I'm a product manager, I really want to understand our current product offerings. Before I ask, this in the regular question, I'm going to get a little bit deeper. Hey, I want you also to like get really specific, like look at these certain like product pages that I've built in the past. So I'm like at mentioning those, really emphasizing like, please do really detailed analysis on these because I'm trying to find some like understand the current market and like where we might strategically prioritize our resources. Then I can even like at mention some other things like here's the voice and tone I want you to put it in. So if I were to run that, and that's going to start running here in the background, this deep research mode will take 5 to 10 minutes to run because it really is going through all of these data sources really deeply. I've gone ahead and just run this prior to the demo just to give an example of how the output would look. You'll notice that, right, it's starting to go through all these pages that I specified. It's looking through a variety of sources. You can see it's looking through like our roadmap, some Slack messages, and it's looking through some like calls and some meeting notes that we had. And it's giving me a really full overview of what that looks like. And you can see now we have this final product. Here's our lighting product portfolio. Here are all of the things that our company sells with all the capabilities, even launch dates if those are available. And then you can see right here maybe are some market items. And you'll notice here that, right, those are coming from the web. So with this deep research mode, we're also now adding the ability to look across the web. And right, it's even giving me some strategic recommendations as well. So all of that, right, we're thinking about our favorite meal we've had in the past year. I'm a product manager trying to think of my favorite product that has worked well, and I'm trying to build the next one. This is going to really help me look through all the data, not only within Notion, but across my entire tool stack to help inform those decisions. So that is the research mode. And then the last piece here is this build mode. So Notion is a very powerful product because it allows you to build workflows that work for the way that your specific business does things. So if you're an HR team, you do things a certain way. If you're an IT team, you do things a certain way. If you're in the insurance business, you do things a certain way. If you're in the SaaS business, you do things a certain way as well. Everyone has their own unique ways of working, and Notion is really built to meld to those ways of working. And this build mode is going to enable you to sort of start building any of those workflows without ever having to know how the product works at a deep level. So especially for like new users, you'll be able to essentially set up Notion the way you want from the get-go. So in this case, maybe I'm trying to build an IT ticketing workflow. I want people to be able to, track by request type, the status, the requester, even like assign priority to things. And if I run this, in the past, I would have had to go set up a database, build all the properties, put all the data into those properties, decide the views that I want to visualize that data. And that takes, I'm a Notion expert. I do this stuff all the time, so that's not a big deal for me. But if you're someone that's setting this up for the first time, like that's a very time-consuming and potentially tedious effort. When you would just rather be working with these IT tickets rather than necessarily spending all this time setting up the workflow to do it. Now you'll notice that when I prompted Notion AI to build this, it has now given me an entire workflow built fully for what I want to do, right? It has all the things that I requested, the status, the priority, the request type, who requested it. And it's even giving me some recommendations like, hey, maybe here's some other fields you want to consider, like the time spent. Maybe you want to assign it by the department. And it's even giving me some like views, like, here's a Kanban board view where I can really easily like move things between the various statuses. And here's like a prioritization view. Here's the critical tickets that I should be working on and really making sure I get done. I could prompt this further, like, hey, add this column, add this view, make these changes. But now that I've built that, you'll see that that's going to go ahead and stick it into a page. And now, boom, I have an entire workflow built in Notion. So really exciting stuff. All of this stuff is accessible from this homepage, right? Where any person can ask questions and get immediate answers, research things, and build their IT ticketing systems. Saved one of I think the best features for last, definitely the one that people have been most excited hearing about in our early testing. And that is actually our AI meeting notes. Now, if I go back to our homepage here, you'll notice that I have a calendar of kind of like these upcoming events, and I have a deal review and a customer call and these one-on-one meetings. At any point in time now, I can add a AI meeting recorder to these notes. So for those who maybe use like Granola or like Zoom AI meeting notes, sometimes a little tedious where you have to take that information, stick it in Notion. You have to pay all this extra money to use those tools as well, which is a whole other thing. With all this, you get really good cost benefits with it's all included as part of your plan. I can add this recorder to any one of my notes. If I'm meeting someone in person, I'm on a Zoom meeting. And to show you what that looks like, I've actually been running this in the background the entire time that I have been going through this demo. And it's going to go ahead and create a summary of the meeting. It's going to give me some notes from the meeting. And it's also going to give me the raw transcript as well. So it's processing all that. And you can see here, right, here are all of the features that I walk through. The Ask Search functionality, enterprise search, new research mode, build mode, and AI meeting notes. And that's all included with this new AI for work. The AI block is also accessible at any point in time by just typing in meeting on a page. And then once you've confirmed the other party's consent, you're good to go and you can use this feature. So anyway, Really exciting day. These are going to be really, really awesome features for businesses to really unlock the way that they use their own data. I think like a lot of the third-party apps, like a Perplexity or a ChatGPT and their search functionality can oftentimes, they're great tools, but you have to spend a lot of time setting up the data sources, really thinking about how you want to prompt the data and connect all these disparate pieces of information and build a full picture about something. This launch is really going to connect all those things for you and have all those data sources streamlined so you can just go ahead and focus on the prompting and getting value out of your proprietary data. So thanks for spending the time to watch this video. Hope you will start leveraging some of these features in your day-to-day workflows, and definitely would love to hear your thoughts and questions in the comments, and have a great rest of your day.